All right, let's get this going, get the show on the road here. So while I am processing the last video, which is basically a Pattaya at night video featuring 3 sort of red light districts, which I shot footage in, and that'll go up soon, but something happened last night that is just too hilarious. Promise you're gonna laugh at me, because I'm laughing at myself. So I thought, while I'm doing that, I have 2 hours before I head back to Pattaya. Took 9.5 hours to get here, $50. That's in a video already published, travel on the cheap. Normally it would cost about $150, but I did it for $50. Austerity budget and all. Bus, plane, bus. And I'm gonna reverse it. I've been here for 2 nights. It's the reason that I came here, and that is the story here. And it's about the girlfriend, Yui. This is crazy, man. So fucking funny. You're gonna laugh at me, I guarantee you. You're gonna wanna stick around, because, who wouldn't want a guy who sometimes tells his own customers and comments to F off, right? I don't do it much anymore. Sober-mindedness and all, but I have been known to pop off, and let me adjust my chair a little bit. So, the background is this. After having, spent so much money building the house and getting the car and putting the girls in a better school, and and all the support for not only Yui, but Yui, the 2 daughters, her mother, her sister, and her son. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, right, in the house, right? And I'm basically doing the support. In total, it probably comes to about $75,000, all cash. And my internet income has, it's not super for the last 2.5 years I've been here. And of course, my vacation rentals in Cabo. Vacation rentals is a great business, but not so much during COVID, where I went 18 months without a penny of income. And now it's like not even 20% of what it was pre-COVID. Keep waiting for it to come back. And I've got other projects lined up. More on that later. Let's get to this. So she's like, I want to have a clothing shop. She was already buying clothes and bags, mainly clothes and bags and shoes, wholesale, and then selling them at various flea markets around Surin City, which is a fairly substantial city, and they have flea markets. All the problem is you're selling them outside, and the sun's beating down, and then it rains and all of this stuff. So it's just like, I need to have a shop I can close, do business all the time, no problem. Okay. So we map out a budget. It's going to cost somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 baht to get it set up, which is about, 6 or 7 thousand to 10,000 US. So I said, well, I got an idea. I've got a lot of nice people out there, so let me put it out there and do a GoFundMe and see what happens. And thankfully, I think it's about 80 of you, 70 or 80, donated a total somewhere between $4,200 and $4,300. Didn't get me to goal, but it was enough to secure the lease, prepay the rent, so that you're not scrambling, give you time, but to make money to I'm getting ahead of myself. But here's what happens. I'm still drinking and getting, because I'm a business guy, a numbers guy, right? And I'm not getting numbers correctly. And I keep asking and asking. Either I get obvious bullshit or I get ignored, right? Thai people are like that. If they can't answer a question, they'll pretend you didn't ask it. It's not really a problem of lying as much as it's just like, you know, that's just the way it is. So so I get abusive in, you know, text, you know, messages back and forth. And eventually she had enough, and it was pretty bad. Some of the shit I said, really stupid, right? Got to be careful with that, because Thais will hold grudges for quite a while. You know, me is like, say what you want, right? If you're still a person with your heart in the right, generally in the right place, I'll forget about it in a few hours or a couple days, right? Means nothing to me. Not Thai people, and especially women, you know. So anyway, her and her sister say, fuck it. And they jump in the car and they head out to go work somewhere and make money so they can get clothes and da-da-da. Well, Yui decides to get back at me. She says, we're going to Pattaya, where I am right now. You're starting to get a clue about this story, right? So this was like 6 weeks ago. And she's very non-communicative, right? Yeah, some text sometimes. But a lot of times it's like one-word answers. You know how that goes, right? One-word answers. So she's like, Pattaya. I'm like, Pattaya? You mean the place where with all the bars and all the Farang, white guys and stuff? That's where you and your sister went, right? So she was intending, her intention was to keep me, you know, off guard, you know, concerned, right? And indeed I was, but not really, you know, take life as it comes, and you know, with her and I, it's kind of like, you do what you want, I do what I want, kind of thing. I'm fiercely independent. And so she, you know, she keeps up this thing for, I'm like, okay, where are you working? And you know, indeed, the times I video chatted with her, like she's in her rooms in the morning, she's alone, obviously. And her and her sister share the same room. And her and her younger sister, Noon, about, I think she's 26, Yui is 29. When I met Yui, she was 27. I was 59. So there's 32 years difference. And I keep having to remember that. So they're like, oh, we work in a restaurant, Thai owned, but they have Thai food and Franklin. So you have Franklin in there. And I'm figuring just reality. It's like, you know, I'm tapped out on the money, so I can't do much to support. And, you know, eventually some guy's going to take a liking to her, and younger men take a liking to her, and, you know how it goes, right? So I'll be replaced. It's just the way of the jungle. No use crying over it, or, you know, but she wanted me basically on my knees or something like that, like begging, and I don't do that. Right, and especially just in the last, what brought this to a head was in, you know, I'm on day like 13 now, 0 alcohol, and in that time, I have, you know, just, well, you know, when I understood that she was very hurt from what I said before, you know, I forced myself to tone it down, and be more objective and rational, and even if I was plastered, I would force myself to be nice. But then, since no alcohol, it's been easy, and no emotion from the bottle, and like I said before, emotion from the bottle, it works in any kind of capacity, works for happiness and exuberance, or anger and abusiveness, everything in between. So not having that, I was able to really quickly get into a more, I suppose you could say, stoic sort of thing. And I tell her, I say, I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I'm not going to insult you. I'm not going to do this. Everything is just information. So you just regard everything as information. Don't get emotional or angry about it. And then you evaluate it and do what's best for you. So I thought, but then I just became tired of the whole thing, the way it was going. And here I live in Hawaii, and there's a lot of nice girls around. So I said, I'm going to end this thing. I'm either going to end this thing or come out with some sort of understanding and options. So, they say, hope for the best, plan for the worst. So I did that. And I booked the ticket to Pattaya, the plane ticket, before I even told her. I thought about just doing a complete surprise. And so I booked the ticket, and then I told her. I figured, it's a 1 in 10 chance that she says, oh good, can't wait to see you, blah, 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 blah. 9 times out of 10, in some way, it will be some sort of negative bullshit. And indeed, it was. But I planned for it. So when I got the message, I'm not ready to talk to you yet, like that, because she's still sore about the thing 6 weeks ago. Now 7 weeks, maybe, almost 2 months. And, okay, I said, well, I'm coming anyway. She said, well, you won't find me. I said, I'm coming to meet you, right? And talk. I won't meet with you. I'm coming anyway. And indeed I did. And she calls me the morning before I left. It kind of like thinking about it. See, the day before, finally she says, okay, I will meet you. Send me 4,000 baht, which is about 130 bucks. I don't even reply to that. It's like, really? I gotta pay you $130 for the privilege of an audience with you, right? I said, look, coming, you're at best a few miles away. Tell me a place where we can meet and talk. I said, one of two things happen. Either we come away with an understanding about how to move forward and be more honest and forthright and nice to each other, or not. But if you don't meet me after I come all the way here, 9.5 hours here, it's 9.5 hours back that I leave in about 2 hours. To do the gauntlet back. Bus, plane, bus. And I said, but if you refuse to meet me, I said, there's only one outcome from that, and it's permanent, and it's irrevocable. I never go back, only forward. You can ask my ex-wife, right? And so she's kind of like, doesn't believe, she thinks that no matter what, all she has to do is send a few of those lovey-dovey stickers and say darling a few times, and I'll come running back. Well, that works for little shit, right? Of course it does. But for this, I said, no. I said, you don't understand. I said, I mean it. I promise. When I step on that bus, if I haven't met you coming all the way down here and you ask for 4,000 baht, after I've given you 2.5 million for the house, the car, the girls in school, and everything else for 2.5 years, then, you know, I'm just gonna call it a loss and move on. And this persists, and it's getting late. I said, you know, I showed her, I said, here's the ticket back, I'm leaving tomorrow. I said, you know, you have this much time to agree to meet me. We'll sit down and talk about it. Quiet, calm, cool, rational, no insults, no emotions, and so on. And so she doesn't quite know what to do, I think, because I get a message from her sister. She's like, Yugui is crying and blah, 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 blah. But there was clues. So like yesterday, or no, maybe it was in the morning or something. Yeah, yesterday. But I think early on, you know, I sent her some stuff. I said, you know, think about this, think about this. Think about how your children's lives were 2.5 years ago when I came into them and what they're like now. You know, they were living in squalor. I went out to the village and it was ridiculous. And I was like, in this case, I don't give a shit about money. No, you know, these girls are sweet and I want them to have a good shot at life, stability. And I did that. So there's no regret ever about that. 2.5 years, there's 2 girls, Chili and Wasabi, have never said a cross word to me. Everybody has nicknames here, so they are called Chili and Wasabi. I met them when Chili was 11 and Wasabi was 9, and now it's 13 and 11. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful girls. Smiles, and just, they adore me. And I them. Love them to death. Anyway, finally comes to a head. You know, first time I called, she didn't answer. I'll wait a while, so I was doing something, so. Then I call again, and she answers. She said, Richard, I'm not in Pattaya. I'm in Wahin. Now, a lot of people who know the place to spell H-U-A, and then that's one word, and then H-I-N, and people say Hua Hin. It's not, the H is silent, so it's Wahin. Anyway, I'm like, where? Wahin. You're in Wahin. Yeah, we're working at a restaurant here. They both work at the same restaurant. And she said, you think I asked you for the 4,000 exchange for meeting me? She said, no, I asked for the 4,000 to take a taxi to come to Pattaya. You have Bangkok, so you have the bay, so you have Bangkok up at the top. You have Pattaya, and then Wahin is almost straight across the bay. It's about 90 kilometers of crow flies, but they do have a bridge planned for someday. You can take ferries, right? I don't know if they're running now since COVID, but you used to be able to. It's a couple hours on the ferry, but the other way is you have to drive up and down. It's, I think, 4 hours or something. So anyway, so finally it comes out. So thing is, so the purpose of the trip then was to, bring this to a head. But the end result was is that I forced her hand, and she had to give up that capital she had against me to keep me out. But oh, she's in Pattaya, and you know, it's just a matter of time before I get, you know, replaced. And there's so many people around here. She's very cute and sexy, but you have to see this great thing about quitting alcohol, because it's given me so much clarity and be able to sort things out and organize them. And I like Yui because even it's a double-edged sword. There's two sides of it. So on the one hand, she's mature beyond her years because of her experience. You know, at the age of 14, she's kind of a little Lolita. Parents, grandparents, you know, the adults send her down to the shop, local shop, you know, to get whatever, beer, whiskey, snacks, whatever, bring back because they're sitting around, right? So there's she's 14, there's a 30-year shopkeeper that she takes a liking to, and she'd heard about Boom Boom, as they call it, and she pursued him. And she says to me, and I loved it. So imagine a 14-year-old, she sneaks away. And her grandfather he was kind of her caretaker, because her father was off in the military, effing around. I may have told you before, she has like 12 siblings, half siblings. Well, her and her one sister, you know, are from the same, they're full from the dad, and they both have about 10 half siblings from different women. It's crazy shit, especially out in the rural villages. And it's many stories like that. Like I say, every Thai girl has the same story. So she starts that relationship, and then they get married. In Thailand, you can get married at 16 with parental permission, so she gets married at 16. Has Chili when she's still 16, and then Wasabi when she's just barely 18. So she has these two girls, right? So think of it. She's 29 now, and her daughters are 13 and 11. I mean, it's close enough to be sisters, really. So that part is mature, and you know, then later they were together 8 years, and she divorced him because he's fucking around, just like Thai men do. And then she goes to Chiang Mai, meets this Brazilian vegan, and starts a 3-year relationship with him. He's been to Brazil 3 times, 3 months each. She said, the family treated me nice, but the whole family is vegan. She's like, rice, beans, vegetables, rice, beans, vegetables. And Thais eat meat and fish with every meal, right? Not in big quantities, every meal. And they eat shellfish, they eat oysters, they eat mussels, they eat all sorts of stuff. It's very, very diet. They eat bugs too, and frogs. Where was I? I don't know if I lost anything here. The camera just cut off. I don't know why it does that. So anyway, so the age gap gets wider, and yeah, I made a joke. I was out there for my 60th birthday, and she was 28 at the time, and 60. I said, Yui, do you know that in 4 years you'll be 32 and I'll be 64, and you'll finally be half my age? And I get a flip off from her. But, you know, she likes old men. Apparently, both of them do, because her sister Noon, who is like 26 or 27, has a 70-year-old boyfriend from Singapore. He's a white guy, but he's from Singapore. And it's been going on for quite a while now. And I was on, her English is getting up and up. Because barely she could speak English. Now it's getting reasonable. So I was on the video with her last night. I said, so you and your sister, you're both like old men, she says, yes, because they have good heart. Which of course means stability, some money and stability. But you know, the thing is, oh, they just do it for money, you know. Well, so does every woman. Because to have security and stability, you have to have some money, right? Duh, right? So, you know, look at any woman. If it's just like love and heartthrobs and everything, there's plenty of guys out there, younger men, who have money, plenty of money, right? But so many of them are assholes. And girls here want a guy, they say it all the time, all the girls, I want a man with good heart. I want a man with good heart. You know, nice to them, right? And so anyway, but here, to kind of start to wrap this up, is that, you know, it's been so helpful to dump the alcohol, because it gives me the clarity to sort through stuff, and I keep having to remind myself that, yes, really cool at 61 to have this 29-year-old, very sexy, classy chick. The way she dresses and the way she can doll up is just amazing, and that is a fountain of youth for me, right? It's healthy for me, and but you know, I had my issues. She did not like that I drank so much. She hates that I smoke, and I've got a video coming on that. She didn't like that I had a little too much of a fat on the belly. And she didn't like how the alcohol affected the sex life at times. And she didn't like the abusiveness when I'm drunk, right? So I said, well, I'm fixing all that, right? And so that's one of the things I came here to talk about, is that, okay, all right, yeah, you keep angering, because what would happen is that she knows what makes me angry, right? So she keeps doing it and doing it and doing it till I blow, say bad things, and then I'm the bad guy. It's not because she's been, you know, picking at me, egging, right? Then I have to realize, well, maybe she does that because she's disappointed in me in various ways, like as I just mentioned. So I have to kind of look at the whole big picture, right? The other part is that, you know, if you're gonna dabble in these waters and you're gonna have the young, hot chick and enjoy that, and believe me, it's enjoyable. And even the young, you know, kind of frivolous and silliness and all those things, it goes with the territory, right? She's young, right? So I keep having to remind myself, you know, you've got to take that, and you don't just blow up every time. And kick her out of the universe, you know, kick her out of the house, whatever. An analogy is your own children, right? So, you know, when you're young, you've got to put up with a lot of bullshit from them. And it's endless, you know. Sometimes it's really bad, right? You don't kick them out of the house, right? But at a point, like 18, 20, then you kick them out of the house, because they need it. They need to go their own way. So, yeah, I told her, I said, you know, if you were 39, this would have been over a long time ago, because I wouldn't put up with it. But she's 29. And so, I've got to be, you know, cool, calm, and look at everything as information. This is information. What am I going to do? And just, and don't be emotional, and especially don't get emotion from a bottle. But anyway, isn't that a laugh? So I come here and and so now we're just great, you know, back and forth, everything, and so Hua Hin is only about 9.5 hour drive or 10 hours by bus. So one way or another, she said she's going to come down to Phuket real soon. So we'll see. And that'll be great. Really, yesterday really served as a final note. Yesterday really served to solidify in my mind how much I really care and how lucky I am, really. Beyond all the bullshit, I'm lucky. And really, 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 really lucky, really, really, really fortunate. And not just because of her, but those two daughters that I love. And indeed, her mother is so nice to me. She cooks me everything I love when I'm there. And her sister is very nice. And Ninja, the little boy, he must be about 7 now, is just a really cool little boy, nice smile. And I'm very fortunate. And so yesterday was gut-wrenching because I told her exactly what I'm going to do if we don't meet. And I said, you know, today would be the day to say, I'm going to go out and have some drinks, because I felt awful. And I thought about it. I said, it would be so easy. I said, it's just one day. Yeah, but then I get home and then I go start buying bottles again. Been down that road before, too many times. So I'm like, told her, I said, nope, I'm not going to do that. Just as much I'm going to do exactly what I said, no matter how much it hurts, right? And in the end, it all worked out, and it's better. Sometimes you have to go through these things to rise to another level. We'll see. But anyway, there's a story. I hope you had a good laugh at my expense traveling all the way here to Pattaya, thinking she's here, and finally finding out she's not even here, dude. But it did call her bluff, and now, you know, I know the full story, and now she can give up the trying to get back at me for being verbally abusive to her. So there we go. All right. Please click subscribe. I need it, and please watch. Look, if you're tired of hearing my voice, just turn down the volume and let it run. Gives me the watch hours I need, right? Minimize it or something. Just let it run. Whatever you need, whatever you can do for me, like that. The watch hours are going good. So thank you. A thumbs up, maybe a comment here or there. Comment on this one. Tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm disgusting or if I'm on the right track. I want to know what you think. All right. Signing out. See you next time when I'm back home.